If this was the inside of your heart lining, it would be one of several chambers. This is like in the Titanic when the gates were closing. He's like, you can't have more than a ratio amount of gates or else it'll be too heavy and sink. That's what lights are of the electronic pulse of your heart rate. Because that relation definitely is more critical for a human if they're not breathing. It's this thing that you would see in like visual kei music videos, like D seventh rows. And then instead of these bushy things, it's just these red flowers. Like there's his hat, and that's like 2 flowers. His fucking stomach and like shoulder. Why torso is important is because it holds a lot of data. It's half your body, so that alone must mean that there's only one if it's yours. And when that's being like thrown, like in Batman in these fatalities, Mortal Kombat, his legs dangling on the ground and his body's underneath it, it's the same as when the centipede gets crushed and you see his legs doing that. If I learned anything from TV, it's destruction of property can only be caught if you keep it in the frame. But if you keep the outside of the frame unknown, is what the Middle Eastern men did in caves underground. And then they put the footage on TV once they were able to detect where they were. The next image they put on TV was a rope. I mean drones, or there could have just been like a guy inside of a potato sack that was a dress fabric with flowers on it and his arm sticking out. That's all you saw in one angle, but it was so far away that you couldn't tell if it was real. So that's equal to like in Lord of the Rings when that one elf lady went in the woods and was blacking out and her eyes were turning white. Frodo was looking at her and she was just standing in the woods on something that looked like that. The amount of snow on this ground that makes the concrete more visible than it would if there wasn't any is a certain number of flakes. But how many of those would it take to illuminate on a sharper angle? The ratio is a lot different because at a depth of further length, there's accruing more snowflakes than this first image. The amount of plastic that was colored in order to take this is a definite amount. This compared to snowflakes can be an amount that is like only over like 12 foot to 20 feet. These numbers are important because when qubits are taken seriously, you can call one of them, if it's like a particle board, which essentially anything flat can be looked at that. If it has snowflakes or plastic coloration, that's different. If there's something that's obtuse in an individual, it would be on a scale of inside and outside of your body being normalized. This, of course, is of a certainty principle, but more modernly could be named mRNA, and it could be named, especially if it's in the configuration different than what you're specifically normal to. Sometimes you have to stall for a few seconds, and that's like a transition moment of a transformers moment where they spin because they're doing barrel rolls on the concrete. When you drop something on the ground, if it's not near your foot, it's equal to a radius. And just as the back of this car is equal to a radius of stickers on it, that catches light as easily as sound would if this would be a white backdrop of a car like this one.